Beautiful building, right?
Look, mister, you are very convincing, and I am very flattered, but I'm not looking.
Not a drag queen. But you definitely have me rethinking this eyeshadow.
There's a recording playing in a hearing room. A man's voice, caught without his permission, admitting the thing he swore he'd never admit in public. Everyone in the room turns to look at him. He looks like he wants to disappear. And the woman who hit play on that recording, the one who spent an entire season being called crazy, unstable, a stalker, an activist with a screw loose, she just sits there, calm, because for once, everyone else is finally hearing what she's been trying to tell them the whole time. Her name is Zoey Pierson, and I need to tell you up front, everyone hates her. Go read the comments on any Zoey episode and you'll see it. Annoying, insufferable, the worst girlfriend Ted ever had. And normally that's exactly the kind of verdict I'd leave alone. You think this is the story of the clingy ex who couldn't take a joke. It's actually the story of the one girlfriend who saw exactly who Ted Mosby was capable of becoming, years before the rest of us did. Pull up a seat under the yellow umbrella. Let's decode the villain the show made you hate for having a point. Quick setup, fast, because there's a lot of plot here and I don't want to bury the actual point in it. Ted gets his big break. GNB, the bank, hires him to design their new corporate headquarters. Career-making stuff. Only problem, the site they want to build on already has a building on it. A gorgeous old hotel called the Arcadian. Neoclassical windows, marble cornices, this incredible stone lion's head carved over the entrance.
Look at the Palladian windows, the rusticated stonework, the marble cornices.
She's an architecture nerd! A hot architecture nerd! That's the dream!
Hold on to that lion. We're coming back to it more than once. So Zoey is leading the campaign to save the Arcadian from getting bulldozed, and Ted, not knowing she's connected to the whole thing, meets her, falls for her, and only after does he realize, oh, she's the woman trying to stop the one project that could make his entire career. Now here's where the show starts stacking the deck against her. Zoey enrolls in Ted's architecture class just to recruit his own students into the protest. She gets the whole class to skip his lectures. She goes on a date with him and secretly records him venting about how much he actually hates GNB, then plays that tape in front of the preservation board to sabotage the project. Every one of those beats is designed to make you roll your eyes at her. Manipulative, relentless, a little unhinged, and if you only watch it at that level, sure, she's exhausting. And I get why it plays that way. Sitcoms need a wall for the hero to bump into every week, and for a while, Zoey is that wall. Every time Ted thinks he's found a clean way through this, she's there again with a new petition, a new angle, a new tape recorder in her purse. It's written like an obstacle course. Honestly, the first time I watched this arc years ago, I rolled my eyes right along with everyone else. She felt like a plot device standing between Ted and his big career moment. But ask yourself why she's fighting this hard for a building, because the show does eventually answer that question, and once it does, you can't watch the rest of her scenes the same way again.
I love how old parts of this city are. It makes me feel connected to history.
Old is always better. I can't wait to be old.
Me too. You can wear elastic everything. Your lipstick doesn't have to stay inside the lines.
You can shoplift and pretend you're just confused.
There's a scene where Ted finally asks her that straight out. Why does a hotel matter this much to you? And she stops performing for a second and just tells him the truth. That when she looks up at the Arcadian, she sees something big and solid, in a life where everything else feels like she's on a boat. Her words. And later we find out exactly what that means. She grew up in that building. It's not a landmark to her, it's her childhood. It's the last solid thing from a life that's otherwise come completely loose. There's actually a name for what Zoey's going through, and once you hear it, you can't unsee it in the storyline. It's called solstalgia. It's the grief you feel when the place that holds your identity gets changed or destroyed while you're still alive to watch it happen. Not homesickness for somewhere far away. Homesickness for somewhere that's still right there, just being erased in front of you. So every manipulative, over-the-top thing Zoey does in the storyline, the recordings, the recruiting his students, the ambushes, it's not a personality flaw. It's a woman using every tool she's got because nobody with actual power is taking her grief seriously, including for a long time Ted. And I want to sit with solstalgia for a second longer because I think it's one of the more useful ideas hiding in this entire show. Most grief we understand instinctively. Somebody dies, you grieve them, everyone gets it, but this is a quieter kind. Your childhood street gets bulldozed for condos. The diner you grew up in becomes a bank branch. The coastline you played on as a kid erodes into the ocean over your own lifetime. Nobody dies, technically. But something that was holding a piece of you in place is just gone, and you're still standing there afterward, and the world expects you to be fine about it because, well, it was just a building. Zoey wasn't crazy for grieving the Arcadian, she was early. Most of us don't find the language for this feeling until we've lost something ourselves. And here's the part that gets me. Ted knows she's right multiple times. He tells her on tape that the Lionhead stonework is iconic, his actual words. He believes the building matters. He's just not willing to lose the job over it. So watch the compromise he offers. He tries to design a new GNB tower that keeps the Arcadian's facade built into it. A version where everybody wins. Zoey is thrilled. For about 5 minutes. Because that's exactly when Ted finds the wedding ring on her hand and realizes she's married, and suddenly his big romantic gesture wasn't really about the building at all. It was about her. And the second the relationship's off the table, so is the compromise. That's the tell, honestly. Ted's conviction about the Arcadian was never really about the Arcadian. It moved whenever his feelings for Zoey moved. Hers never did. She fought for that building from the first scene to the last, married or not, liked or hated. Think about how convenient that is, if you actually lay the two of them side by side. Zoey's belief in the Arcadian costs her, constantly. It costs her the moral high ground because carrying that loudly makes her look unhinged. It costs her friendships in Ted's circle. It probably costs her something in her own marriage, given how much time she spends fighting a stranger's bank project. Ted's belief in the Arcadian, on the other hand, only ever shows up when it's free. On a date. In a private confession, he doesn't think we'll leave the room. The moment believing in something might actually cost him the GNB job, the belief evaporates. That's not a small character detail. That's basically the whole difference between the two of them, laid out in one storyline. Then it goes to the hearing. Landmark's Preservation Commission. And this is where Ted has to actually go on record. And after all of it, after admitting on tape that he agrees with her, after the compromise, after everything, he stands up and says he does not want the Arcadian preserved. Career over relationship. Convenience over conviction. And Zoey, who saw this exact outcome coming from the very first episode she was in, plays her recordings anyway, not to save the building at this point. That's already lost, just so the room, and Ted, has to hear the truth out loud one more time. The Arcadian comes down. GNB gets its shiny new headquarters, and the man who tore down her entire childhood gets his career-making building and his cover story wrapped up neatly as the guy who tried his best. Now here's the part I actually want you to sit with, because I think it's the whole point of this video. Zoey didn't even win. That's what makes this different from a normal redemption story. She wasn't some misunderstood villain who gets her happy ending once you see her side. She fought for a year, used every trick she had, risked looking unhinged in public over and over, and she still lost the building. She got nothing. Not the Arcadian, not Ted, just the label. Crazy ex-girlfriend, the one everyone was relieved to see go. Meanwhile, Ted, the guy we're rooting for every single episode, is the one who actually pulls the trigger. He admits the building matters. He believes her case. And when it costs him something, he votes to tear it down anyway and lets his career carry him past it without a scratch. He's the architect of destruction. It's literally the name of the episode. And somehow Zoey is the one fans remember as the villain. Here's the lion again. That stonework, Ted, called iconic on tape. The thing he actually believed in when it didn't cost him anything. It gets torn down along with the rest of the building, ground into rubble somewhere under a bank headquarters. Ted keeps the memory of saying the right thing. Zoey just keeps the loss. And I think that's the real late twist hiding in the storyline. This isn't a story about a crazy girlfriend who finally gets exposed as crazy. It's a story about how easy it is to like the guy who says the right thing and still does the wrong one, and how easy it is to hate the person who's simply loud about being right when nobody with power will listen any other way. If you only remember one thing about Zoey, I'd want it to be this. She was never wrong about the Arcadian. Not for one single episode. Everyone around her changed their mind, compromised, backed out, moved on. She never did. That should be the character trait we respect most in this entire show. Instead, it's the one that got her cancelled by an entire fandom. And look, some things came out of it. Marshall weirdly found his footing here too. Standing up in that same hearing, doing the legal work he actually believed in for once, instead of whatever GNB needed that week. If you want the fuller version of what integrity costs on this show, I made a whole video on the silent grief of Marshall Erickson. It lines right up with this one. I'll link it. But before you go, I want to ask you something, because I don't think this is really about a hotel. Think about the last time you were the person in the room who was right, but too loud, too insistent, too much, and everyone decided you were just difficult instead of actually listening to what you were protecting. It happens at work. It happens in families. Somebody cares about something everyone else has already decided to let go of, and instead of asking why it matters that much to them, we just get tired of hearing about it. Maybe it's a parent who won't stop bringing up the house they grew up in, long since sold, long since torn down for something newer. Maybe it's a friend who can't let go of a job that got automated away, or a neighborhood that doesn't look anything like it used to. We tend to sort people into two piles: the ones who move on gracefully, who we admire, and the ones who keep grieving out loud, who we quietly start to avoid. Zoey got sorted into the second pile by an entire audience, and I don't think that was ever fair. Solstalgia is a real thing. Grieving a place, a job, a version of your life, while everyone around you moves on and calls you dramatic for still caring. Zoey never got her building back, but she never once apologized for caring about it either. That part's worth remembering, even if the rest of the fandom never will. Sometimes the person who won't let it go isn't broken. They're just the only one still being honest about what got lost. If this made you look at Zoey a little differently, or if you've got your own Arcadian, some place or thing you fought for that everyone else thought was ridiculous, subscribe and pull up a seat. This is exactly the kind of character this channel exists for. The ones everybody wrote off too fast. That's Zoey Pierson, not the villain. The only one in the room who never lied about what she wanted. I'm decoding How I Met Your Mother, one character at a time. I'll see you in the next one.